YouTube live watching for this beautiful auspicious event, live satsang with Mohanji. Today, we are very, very fortunate to have Mohanji with us, speaking to us on live, answering some of the questions. So sorry for the delay that we had some technical hitch, but we are now good to go. And Mohanji will be here with us very soon. Pranam Mohanji, welcome.
Thank you.
Apologies for the delay, Mohanji, and the technical hitch. We have some people on this Zoom today from representing all the countries where Mohanji Foundation is established to ask few questions representing the whole global audience. So thank you so much for being with us today. And I now call upon Nikunj from India.
Pranam Mohanji. Father, the question I want to ask is, in the current turbulent times when there's so much of emotional turmoil, stressed relationships, there's violence, there's lack of ethics and values. So how do those people survive who don't have guidance from a spiritual master or who've not embarked on a spiritual journey as yet? What do they hold on to?
Almost 90% of the world operates on unconscious mode. The entire education system works that way. To compete, to compare, and victory based on material success. So people are on an automatic mode. But the awareness that we talk about gives balance to people. What is the need for spiritual stability or spirituality? What is the need for spirituality? It's a spiritual stability. That means you are not so much disturbed by the daily events of life, turbulations of life, tribulations of life. Those things does not touch you too much. That is what is the need for a spiritual maturity. Spiritual maturity simply means you get to know what runs your show, not what seems to be. And our whole life is not pitched against things outside. Our maturity is that we rely more on our internal story, our the actual beingness, actual being with ourselves. So when you are not too dependent on the world outside, you are reasonably stable. That's the reason, that's the need for the time. But not everybody are oriented towards that. People are oriented towards religions. Religions are methodologies for a particular stream of life. And that's mostly invented or contributed by people who have walked that path before. And their teachings are codified into religions. But above all, there is a human nature, humanity. There is humanness, being a particular species, 100%. That has to happen from within. It has to be, we have to start beginning to understand ourselves. This has to start with education. It's not about spirituality. It has to start with our education system, trying to make everybody or the children understand who they are. At least to make them feel that they are unique. They are, just a second. They are unique and they are important as an individual in this world. So this is important to understand. So not everybody need a spiritual guide for their guidance. All they need is a proper understanding about themselves, a manual for daily existence. That's needed today. And it's not always about rituals or religions or methods that gives stability. It's simple awareness that we are here only for a limited span of time. We are just like a tourist on earth. We have two boundaries which we cannot change, like birth and death. And in between, whatever we collect, whatever we acquire, our qualifications, our degrees, our various accolades, awards, everything we have to leave behind when we leave. So they are all only catering to our gratification of this existence. That simple awareness is enough, so that people will be stable on earth. They will not be, of course, you will appreciate whatever comes your way. You will appreciate all the good things that has happened. You may appreciate also the bad things, which are lessons basically of life. And then you will start having a life without any conflicts, frictions through time. So what we need today is not actually a spiritual awakening. A few will go into spiritual awakening also, finding themselves, settling down in themselves. That will happen to a few people, but not everybody. Not all people will be feeling that that kind of a connection with themselves, because that's not part of their agenda. Many people will look at themselves as one of the species, one of the beings of earth, and they will always compare and compete, and they will feel good and they will feel bad based on these comparisons and competitions and imitations. That you can't change. But at the same time, there is a very big possibility that you can overcome all these differences and dualities by just accepting oneself. This is possible. So this is a simple education that we need to provide to the society, to find themselves, to accept themselves, to be themselves. This is something very simple, but this is very effective.
Thank you, Mohanji. Next, I would invite Monica, please, representing the Serbia country.
Namaste, Jai Mohanji. Welcome from Serbia. Happy Guru Purnima. And our question is actually related to Nikunj's question. In these turbulent times in which we are living now, what is one question that every one of us should ask ourselves?
What am I doing here on earth? That question is very important. Is it just to eat, drink, sleep, fight, compete, and be a slave to something or somebody, or just to accept some things blindly and follow things blindly? Is this what we are doing here? Is this what we are here for? Or what exactly are we here for? This question everybody should ask. If you ask that question, life will become meaningful.
Thank you, Mohanji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohanji. Next is coming from United Kingdom. Shama, welcome.
Namaste, Mohanji. Lots of love from all of us. I have a question. Mohanji, your main teaching is be you, be authentic, and to be natural. As we all have inherent flaws and tendencies, how can being you with all our defects help us to evolve spiritually?
Be you simply means what you are beyond your associations, such as relationships, positions, and possessions. These are the major associations that we have in a lifetime. So being you is being you minus these three things: positions, possessions, relations. In short, our associations. We consider ourselves with our association, and we sometimes do not understand who we are. So if we have to really recognize ourselves, the character traits, which you just said, our pluses and minuses, strengths and weaknesses, they are all part of the character or constitution. They are not important. Everybody has them. All people have them. So we don't have to really worry about these matters. What we should look at is that there is a uniqueness in all of us. We are all unique beings. We are all important beings for our sake in this world. And when we are looking at the realities of life, which is basically none of the associations, but the thing that you recognize yourself with is a unique being who's experiencing life on earth, or in other words, a divine being using a body to experience life on earth. If this is clearly understood, then you have understood everything. If this is not understood, then you have not understood anything. So it doesn't matter what's your character, what job do you do in life, what is your constitution, what's your desire pattern, what is your tendencies and inclinations. They have no value here. It only matters whether you accept yourself as you are, and you can connect yourself as a being who's not determined by the possessional relations. A pure being who's walking this earth beyond caste, country, culture, color, religion, language. What you are, that's what you are. And that understanding will stabilize you. That will give you maturity, mature outlook towards life. You will not fight, you will not compete, you will not compare, you will not have conflicts. And all these things will eventually give you great stability and eventual liberation.
Thank you, Mohanji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohanji. The next one is Dalila from Bosnia, but she is in an event with Devi Mohan right now, and they have some video problem. So I will read out her question that she has sent to us. Dalila asks that how personal growth can take us to the golden era, regardless of different collective consciousness.
Collective consciousness and personal consciousness are totally different. There are 8 billion people on earth approximately. And these 8 billion people are 8 billion different consciousness. They have consciousness levels, they have patterns, they have all sorts of differences. So individually, when you grow, you reach that state of complete bliss, complete conscious state. When you say Satya Yuga, golden age, it means you are completely conscious. There is no movement happening unconscious. There is no binding by karma. There is no binding by inclinations, desires, tendencies. There are no binding by character traits. This is what we call liberation. So in this particular mode, when you are experiencing that state while living, you are already in the frequency of Satya Yuga. But collective consciousness, it takes much more effort. Collective consciousness, because there are so many different types of people, different frequencies. Not all frequencies are the same. They all have their differences. They have fluctuations. They have a lack of compatibility between them. That's what we see. That's why we see all these bloodsheds and wars and displacements are all connected to lack of compatibility of our own species, within our species. So that takes time. That will take time. All our effort is to raise the awareness of the current generation and the generations to come to that of kindness, compassion, selflessness, non-violence, etc. But it will take time. It will take time, and it will take concerted effort. We need an army of people who would army or family of people, let's say family of people who are committed, who really believe in it, that there should be peace on earth, and they should live it, not preach it. So it takes time, but individually, we can all grow to the level of Satya Yuga, that frequency, and that will show. When we are in that frequency, it will start reflecting in our life, through our life, and it will reach a lot of people. And they will get influenced, and they will also probably love to walk that path. That's the best we can do.
Thank you, Mohanji. Next, I would like to invite Sindhu. Sindhu, are you there?
Yes, I am. Namaskaram, Mohanji. Happy Guru Purnima.
Happy Guru Purnima.
My question is, how can I yearn liberation?
How can you?
How can I yearn liberation?
Learn.
Yearn, desire.
Yeah, how can you? Y-E-A-R-N or L-E-A-R-N?
Y-E-A-R-N.
Yearn for, okay. That for yearning for liberation, you need to know what is binding you. You know, there is a particular sloga which in Adi Shankara says this, that I do not need liberation because I am unbound. So when there is even one binding, it could be position, it could be possession, it could be relations, it could be any aspects of existence. If there is one binding of any kind, which really slows you down, so pulls you back, then it is then it's a sign that you deserve or desire to have liberation, or you can have liberation, provided you are conscious about it. If you are not conscious about it, then you will not know, because most people do not understand liberation because they are not conscious about it. Many people believe that they are fine through the birth and death cycle. So they don't really realize that there is a thing called liberation. Liberation doesn't mean running away from anything. Liberation simply means that you are unattached or nothing attached to you. You are in everything. You are enjoying all aspects of life, but at the same time, you realize that this is all passing. These are all temporary. They all come and go. So that awareness, when it stabilizes, we call it liberation, liberated existence. So at that time, or at the time of death, when we really know that we are grateful for everything that happened in our life, we have inside us gratefulness, gratitude, and we do not blame anybody. We don't criticize anybody. We don't nurture grudges. We don't nurture hatred. No enmities. Inside is pure. Our inside is completely pure. We haven't stored anything for long, or we haven't stored anything at all. All the memories we are grateful about. And when we are leaving, we leave with a smile. I had a good life. That makes us understand, or that's a sign of a liberated existence or liberated exit. So liberated existence is first of all, we need to understand what is binding to know liberation. So we need to do a self-analysis kind of thing. I think we have discussed that in Empowered program. We need to do an analysis kind of thing. How many things are binding us? And you will be surprised to know so many things bind us. Without those things, we don't have existence. So this is very important to know. And once we know that, then once we clearly understand how much we are bound, yearning happens spontaneously for liberation. It's not escapism. Don't confuse between escapism and liberation. Don't confuse between indifference or lack of interest for some things. Not like that. Depressions, depressed states, that's not liberation. Liberation simply means you have everything, but you are not bound by anything. That state is a very powerful state. And it's very, very easy to know if you're not in that state, especially if you know how much bound you are. That needs manana, contemplation, analysis. We need to check how much I am bound. Especially when we react to things in life, we understand that we are bound by that. When we are reacting to various things of life, that's a sign of binding. Like that, there are so many factors, so many things which unconsciously we are bound or not knowingly, but at certain points in time, they come out into the surface. Clear?
Thank you, Mohanji. Next, I'd like to invite Mohanji Farsi. Ilham, please, you can ask your question.
Namaste and pranam at your feet, Father. I would like to congratulate you on this day. Happy Guru Purnima to you.
Happy
behalf
Guru
of
Purnima.
Everyone in Mohanji Farsi, which I know that they love you so much.
Thank you.
So the question is, as self-acceptance is very important in a spiritual path as well as daily life, what is practical ways to practice self-acceptance, and how to differentiate between self-acceptance and selfishness and arrogance?
One easy way to practice is that if you are, the society or the people around you gives opinion about you, right? They talk about you, they give you opinions about you. If you are unaffected by any of these, your acceptance level is good. When people talk and you are affected, that means self-acceptance level is very poor, because you are influenced by others' words. Likewise, your desire pattern, check your desire pattern about somebody, about other people, and you think that other people should do what you like them to do, and if they don't do it, you are affected. That means self-acceptance is affected. It's a kind of self-acceptance, but our expectation also is a sign of self-acceptance. If somebody behaves the way you want them to behave or not, you still feel the same. That is self-acceptance. So in daily life, you can see how much self-acceptance you have. If the outside world does not affect you, you have accepted yourself. And if you walk away from situations which is not good for you, it shows your self-respect. Like that, then even if other people don't love you, but you love yourself, this is self-love. So you can see all these things. And now, what is selfishness? Others, even if others do not have it, we want it. That is selfishness. Means we are not in the mode or mood to share. That is selfishness. So selfishness is
I think there is slight network issue at that end where Mohanji's video is frozen. There, can you hear me?
I love you, you love yourself. So these you can perfect. You can make it very strong, and if you do that, your life will become very stable. But selfishness always makes you insecure, unstable, and insufficient. Selfishness. Greed always makes you insecure. Likewise, greed factor. Then all those factors, like for example, insecurity. Insecurity always keeps you insufficient. There is something less. That's all sign of our lack of maturity, lack of balance. So you can definitely choose self-acceptance. Did I answer the question? If you didn't get clarity, ask me.
Just what is the practical ways to do that? Because mostly people have problem, how to take a step towards self-acceptance.
No, that is the way I said, a constant watch over yourself, witnesshood, how you respond to things outside. When somebody calls you a donkey, how do you respond? Various situations of life, how you respond. See, many of these things, the practice is daily life. The best practice is daily life. Then automatically in life, you can perfect it. So detachment happens by going through situations, experiencing, mind being in present all the time while experiences happen. And then you feel detached from that because you already done that. You went through it. You experienced it. So when you experience it, then you don't need it anymore. So practice should be daily practice. And also, as situations happen, how you react. That's a sign of whether you have passed the test or not.
Thank you, Mohanji.
Thank you, Mohanji. Next is from South Africa, Shan. Shan, welcome.
Yes, Shan.
Can you unmute, please? You're muted. Yeah. Thank you.
Namaste, namaste, Mohanji.
Namaste.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Happy Guru Purnima. The question is
Happy Guru Purnima.
Good. Thank you. The question is for South Africa. You just had an incredible visit with us and the Prana Pratishtha at the Shirdi temple. My question for the country is, how do we bring unity? We've got tremendous challenges many levels in South Africa, and what core thing will help us to unify as a group and as a country as well?
I have written a letter to the president which came in newspaper. Maybe it is available in the newspaper. It's still there. I got a copy in which I have suggested a few things which possibly could help the country. So what you need is that the current South Africa is, first of all, a beautiful country. It's got its character, it's got its beauty, it's got its wealth, natural wealth also. But now it has sufficient for everybody's need, but not sufficient for everybody's greed. So that is the fundamental. So what it takes is that there should be a concerted effort, which we had tried in 2018, if you remember. we had tried to make a particular group, form a particular group to unite it, and we succeeded in uniting them, and to create a kind of movement to bring forth harmony in the society. So my suggestion has been to the government and to the elected members who met me was that the food, clothing, shelter should be provided by government to everybody. That is the first and foremost to tap crime. Second is that when crime is happening, should have serious punishment, so people wouldn't even choose crime. Third is to secure the local people's interests and to close the borders or whatever, to avoid the influx of people coming in from abroad and kind of taking away jobs and stuff. So like that, there are a few things which has to be done for the country to prosper. But as a community, as Mohanji family, what you can do is to add value to the society. How can we add value? We first of all, we are available for people to talk to us, to help them in whichever way possible within our capacity, and lastly, to give them some kind of a purpose in life, so that that larger purpose, higher purpose, can lead them to glory. So we can do so many things. Now we are also looking at having fruit tree plantations in the forests, which with the prince we are working. All those things are to add value to the society. So there are so many things which we are thinking in South Africa. We are planning in South Africa. Hopefully it will happen soon. And it's everybody's. So first of all, you need to discard the differences, not just our Mohanji family, but everywhere. Discard the differences of caste, country, culture, color. This has to be discarded. Secondly, we have to unite based on purpose, not emotions. See, the thing is that it's very easy to enter into emotions and dislike people, dislike situations, etc. But it will never hold water for the future. It will never help any society by throwing out emotions. So it should be out of more than emotion. It should be with clarity of purpose. Work hand in hand with the elected members and with excellent media support, so that everything we do is transparent. So far, everything we did was transparent. That's our credibility. People can see what we have done. There has been no hidden stuff, or there are no unclear actions. So everything has to be done in that way. Our clarity of thought, clarity of intention, purity of intention, collective action, purposeful action, timely action, all these things will give us much more stability and integrity, and we can make a difference in the world around us.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mohanji. The next person I would like to invite is from USA, Sabu John. Welcome.
Welcome,
Hello,
Sabu.
Mohanji. Thank you so much. Happy Guru Purnima and
Happy Guru Purnima.
Mohanji family in US. So my question came up after reading your book, Science of Shiva. And it says the soul evolves in the physical body, and even after death, the soul goes through an evolution. So just want to understand, what is the evolution?
I can't hear you well, Sabu. The voice is unclear.
So, my question is from the Science of Shiva. And the book says the soul evolves in the physical body, and even after death, the soul goes through evolution. Just want to understand, what is the evolution of soul from death to rebirth?
I didn't understand it.
I'll read that question, Mohanji.
Yeah.
If you can hear me. So basically, Sabu is asking, please can you provide insights into the soul's journey or state between death and rebirth?
Well, soul, when it leaves the body, it carries the subtle aspect. See, our life is a marriage between subtle and the gross. Gross is the body with all the senses, all the sensors which are for the external factors. We have taken the body to experience the external world. And we have an equal and stable internal aspect, which is the subtle aspect, SUBTLE, subtle aspect. And this marriage of gross and subtle together is called life. So when the soul leaves, it carries the subtle with it. Gross is left behind. Just like you're renting a house or you're moving houses. What do? You pick up all the materials from your house, pack them, and take them to the next house, and then put them in order in the house, in its place, like you did before. So just like that, the soul, when it travels, it picks up all these materials, all the character traits, unfulfilled desires, the memories of various things happened in the life. All these things are taken, and then wherever there is an unfulfilled desire, wherever there is a thing to do, that's put in time. So what you wanted at the age of 20 has to be put in the age of 20. It can't be put in the age of 10 or 30. So like that, everything is arranged based on time. And that's the duration of life. That duration is from birth till death. So we can't predict how much time we will stay. It depends on how many things we have to do. What experiences you need from a life, that much duration is provided in the next life. So soul goes through a transit, but soul is almost, please understand, soul is just like the petrol of the car, or electricity through the gadgets, expressed through the gadgets. So soul doesn't have its own plan, its own agenda. But the larger plan is, the contract is that as long as there are desires, the soul gets along or tags along. It comes along, it comes together. So that's why the soul is traveling. But the soul as it is already liberated. You know, soul is already free. Soul is not interested in the desires. Just like electricity is not interested in the expressions of bulb, light bulb, or television, or refrigerator, or washing machine. Electricity is not interested, but it goes along. And when it enters a machine, particular machine, it displays itself like that machine. So we only see a washing machine, but we don't see the electricity inside the washing machine. Like that, we see only a human body or any animal body or a bird's body. We do not see the electricity inside it. So just like that, soul is just following its usual life pattern, or in other words, dharma, righteous duty. So soul is performing its dharma through lifetimes. At the same time, the constitution, the desire pattern, all these things are asking for more experiences, more expressions. For that bodies are taken. So when the soul leaves the body, it carries all the unfulfilled things, or things which are not sorted, and goes and it processes them. There's a processing time. Usually it is said 2.5 years in human time, but there is no guarantee like that. It could be 2.5 years or 25 years also. Sometimes the soul hibernates long enough to take another body as its desire pattern exists, as per its desire pattern. So it can go on forever. But usually they say, because we are full of desires and we are reasonably unconscious, in 2.5 years you come back, you know, and another body, and then another life, and another things like that. So, but more or less, all these lives are same emotions, same feelings, same kind of drama. That's exactly how we live. So soul processes them, and there are masters in that plane also to guide this particular being. It has to be called as an entity, not as a soul, because soul also carries all the unfulfilled desires. So it's kind of an entity. So discuss with the entity, what would you like to take another birth? And the answer would be yes, because desires are there. It needs fulfillment. Unfulfilled desires needs fulfillment. So it will say, yes, I want to take a birth. And then time, space, effect, or all those things, time, place, parents, all those things are decided based on the desire pattern. So mostly what happens is the same set of souls come back into the same family because of familiarity. because of unity or soul unity or soul mateship. They come back in the same family or similar family or a larger family. They all know each other. Even enemies are born like that. Nobody just comes and becomes an enemy. They already had a pattern of fighting with you, or you had a pattern of fighting with them. So that becomes like that. The good, bad, and the ugly are all predetermined. You know, all these are all part of drama, the whole drama called life. So like that, it comes and takes another body. So this is the usual life cycle, like the leaving the body, taking whatever is unfulfilled, unfinished out there, sorting them out, laying them out on time, and then that becomes your software. Once it's laid out on time, each desire pattern, and then it becomes your software. Then you enter a body and you instill the software in that body. Then new life begins. Simple. Clear, or you want more explanation?
Thank you so much, Mohanji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohanji. The next we have Mohana Hanumatananda on the Zoom, but he has some video issues, so I will read out his questions to you. So Mohanji, please, can you give us a few everyday practical tips for living without expectations and how to be free from it when our mind is trained to be goal-oriented?
Living without expectation is more or less impossible. That's probably, it's like illusion. It's a mirage. So what we need to know is that being aware of our expectation, that's the best thing. That living without expectation is probably impossible, but being aware of your expectations, its repercussions, such as disappointments, you know, all those things, that probably is a good idea to know them. So being watchful, being aware is more important than controlling expectations. And please remember, when you try to control something, it always stays longer. Instead, if you regulate it and you go through it, it ends there, or it finishes by itself. So do not try to practice too much of control, because that it may end up in suppression. When control becomes suppression, then usually what happens is that there is dissatisfaction, disappointment, and also kind of insecurity can creep in. So what you need to do is that experience everything, but be watchful. Watch yourself, you know, feel yourself, watch yourself. And as expectations happen, witness them, see them, witness them, and let it happen. So when you're not really fighting expectations, then it's easier for you to overcome them. When you're fighting them, they stay longer, they stay stronger. So this is very important, not to fight them. Don't fight them. Instead, accept them and release them.
Thank you, Mohanji. Next, we have from Ecuador, Maya. Maya, would you like to ask a question, please?
Yes, Maya Otovich.
Thank you, Mohanji. Lots of love from Ecuador. Okay, this is a question relevant for this country, so I just like to share it. Is it recommendable for people who went through big traumas in life, such as women who suffered physical and sexual abuse, to practice guided meditations? Because it seems to be very challenging for them to sit in silence and face their inner world, or maybe some other kind of guidelines could be given for them, because we do have a chance to do workshops with such women. Thank you.
Yeah, the best thing is selfless service. Involve them in selfless service, and also guide them to more of selfless service, so that when they serve the society, their self-esteem grows, they will feel more stable, and they will feel more valuable. When our net worth increases through serving the world, that helps stability. Plus meditation will work. So accent on selfless service, help the helpless, especially help the people who have suffered in the hands of other people. Then guide them, take them out of them, or try to help them to stabilize themselves. And then from there, you also practice meditations, connecting to oneself, practicing meditations. Empowered program can be very good for many of them, because as awareness increases, they will feel more stable, so that they become unshakable. See, any pain can be turned into a purpose. The moment you turn a pain into a purpose, you become very powerful, invincible. So this is very important. All the people who are seemingly successful in the world have overcome tremendous pains. They have gone through pains, not that they have never faced pains. They have, maybe most of them have gone through tremendous pains, which not easy to handle. But they walked, they moved on, they accepted, they didn't complain, they didn't criticize, they moved on. That's the main thing. So that made them strong people. Otherwise, what happens is, when we are bound by the pains of it and we don't overcome them, we don't come over it. This is very important, that we should strengthen them, they should stabilize themselves. Plus meditation will help.
Thank you, Mohanji.
Thank
Next
you.
is Ivana Surya from Croatia. Ivana Surya from Croatia. I will read out her question.
Yes, Ivana.
Her question is, for the connection with the Guru that leads to liberation, is one type of connection sufficient? For example, karma yoga or bhakti yoga? Or is it necessary to regularly perform some spiritual practice, such as kriya or meditation, etc.?
It's stability of connection that's more important. Stable connection, stability of connection, consistent connection, connection with conviction. That's more important than any practice. What was the method of practice of Hanumanji to Ram? Hanumanji just parked his mind at Ram's feet. All the thing he did was service to Ram. Even taking a bath was service to Ram. Everything was service to Ram. So what happened is that his entire constitution became merged into Ram's constitution, or Ram's consciousness, or Ram consciousness. So what happened? There was no particular practice he needed. All he had was Ram in his mind. So when you understand a master or a God or something which is representing supreme consciousness, please remember, supreme consciousness has no form. So directly connecting to supreme consciousness might be challenging, might be a bit of a challenge, but you can connect to anybody or anything which you consider as merged into supreme consciousness. It could be a human being, it could be an animal, it could be anything. So that is why in the Hindu system, we have 330 million gods. So basically all gods are projections of one consciousness. All deities are projections or derivations of one consciousness. And they all have frequencies. They have forms, they have nature, they have frequency, they have duration, all these things, because the possibility is tremendous, unbelievable possibility. So this is exactly what we should understand. So if you consider a man or a woman, a master who's merged into consciousness and operating from the cosmic conscious mind, Ridambara Buddhi, the intellect of operating level of cosmic consciousness, if you are clear and if you're sure, all you have to do is park your mind there. Look no further. That's why Yogananda said, if you consider me as your guru, I'm all gurus. Look no further. What are all gurus? All gurus means all different forms. And if you're confused because of different forms, you will never understand truth. All these forms are representation of unconsciousness. Why there are different forms? Because there are different frequencies of people. Each frequency of people need that particular frequency to talk to them. That's why if one frequency was enough for the entire world, it would have been much easier. But that's not the case, unfortunately. Each person is a different frequency. Respect it, accept it, and then such frequency should talk to them for them to understand what they're talking about. What is consciousness? So that's why we have various frequencies of people, various paths, various systems, various methods, for various types of people. So when there are so many types of people, you focus on what suits you, which person suits you, a guru that suits you. And it should not be based on the looks of the guru or things like that. It should be based on the material, your connection, how deeply and how effortlessly you can connect to the person or the master. If you can't connect to a person effortlessly, that's not for you. Very simple. Like, for example, the shirt you wear, the dress you wear, if it is not suitable to your body, you will be uncomfortable. So when you are connecting to a master and his teachings, his lifestyle, his ways, all these things are suitable to you, don't leave anymore. Don't leave them. Leave that person. Stay connected. Stay stable in connection. Then you can reach higher levels of awareness through that. So, but please remember, no guru or no deity is complete. They are all representation of something complete. I repeat, nobody is complete by themselves. They are representation of something complete. So you are connecting to that thing which is complete through the representations. So if this understanding you connect, being stable, it's not about practices, it's about connection. It's about conviction. It's about consistency.
Thank you, Mohanji. We have now a question from Paula from Slovenia, and I'll read out. Mohanji, you say not to react to adharma is adharma itself. So how to know when to interfere and when to stay away?
Well, being indifferent towards adharma is not acceptable. What you need to do is that you need to speak, but speak with conviction, speak with stability, speak with maturity. You call a spade at the right time, in the right way, without being emotional, without using abusive language. By calling a spade at the right time, you're doing your job. You're being responsive. You're being responsible. So that's fine. But I never said be indifferent towards adharma. I always say, when you know very clearly there is adharma and there is something going on, respond it as you should, in your way, calmly, with maturity. But if you shout, scream, and make a mess and gossip and scandalize people, you end up paying the bills for it. Means karmic bills. You know, when you scandalize somebody, when you talk bad about somebody, when you criticize somebody, judge somebody, then your bills will be always increasing. That's the karmic bills. So avoid too much of karmic bills, which is basically debts of life, which will cost more lives. Avoid them and be responsible. Most importantly, if you do not like something, imagine something in the society you do not like, you do what you like to counter it. Means a thing can be done in this way and this way. Do the positive thing, work in the positive way, display yourself in the positive level, and show this to the world. This way we can do things. So leading by example is a very powerful expression. When you lead by example, it shows. People watch. Hey, this is also possible. This way also we can talk to the world. We can counter a situation. So instead of screaming and shouting, do the right thing. When you do the right thing, it shows, and it shows in an effective way, and people will start liking it. Birds of same feather flock together. So they start coming to you. Birds of same feather. The people who like your frequency will come to you. Say that I like what you do, and let's do it together. So this is definitely possible. How can I say with conviction? I'm a walking example. I started with 0 in the world. Now we are in many countries. We are all over the world. We are in many countries. So many people are connecting. So many people are following. Some people who do not like it or who come with expectation may get disappointed and go. But apart from that, people who are stable mind, matured people who accepts you unconditionally, they have all stayed. There are so many people I can talk in the last, we have walked together in the last more than 10 years, like Hanumatananda, Bilyana Vasarovich, and so many. There are so many people who have walked all these years, more than 10 years, 12 years or so. Now it's a 10th anniversary going on for my public life, but most of them have met me even before. So there is a possibility of your integrity to be displayed. So this possibility, if you are able to understand or connect to that possibility, you will always remain stable, and that's your best message to the world. Your stability, your integrity, your conviction, your consistency, these are great messages you can give to the world. World will respect you for this.
Thank you, Mohanji. We are nearly coming to the close of the session, but we have one closing question that we'd like to ask. So on behalf of everybody else, today as your last, your message on this Guru Purnima for the current year, for the current time that we all live you, is there any specific guidance would you like to give us, please?
Yes, I would like us to see, I'd like to see much more unity, much more stability, and much more determination to lead the world to something higher and more glorious. We are moving in a grossly unconscious world. Most of the people are unconscious. They sit down and compare, they compete, they criticize, they judge. And when people judge, there is no time to love. Instead, we should love more unconditionally. There are good, bad, and the ugly in the world. There are deficiencies and proficiencies in people. All these are fine. So what we need to do as matured individuals, as spiritually stable people, we should express unconditional love, compassion, kindness, selflessness, non-violence in our daily life. And there are tremendous opportunities to do that because life gives them. Life always gives such opportunities to us, but we have to make use of it. Stop being unconscious, be conscious, act with awareness, display humility, unconditionality, and always be stable in your approach. Think well before you talk. Do not retaliate, do not react. That shows your spiritual maturity. I would like to see the Mohanji family responding in this way in the world. I don't like to see our people reacting after all these years spent with me. I would like to see the team, all the family members around the world responding with love, kindness, asking questions. Is there something I can do for you? Can I help you? Is there something which we can do to make the life of the people around us better? Things like that, and do it and act on it. So I think if we work together in a concerted way, if we walk together, and if we believe in each other, the main thing is trust factor. The trust that we have, the trust, we should trust each other, and this trust should show. We should be there for each other, support each other, and definitely we need our spaces and we need our places for people to stay and grow. That will happen. But this Guru Purnima, the wisdom that we should display in this Guru Purnima and beyond until the next one is that we must individually make a difference in the world around us. And we should be proud of being part of Mohanji family with maturity, with consistency, continuity, integrity. This is what I would like to see. And we can all do it. And if at all you say, oh, this is beyond my limitations, you've not understood the tradition. Tradition doesn't have any limitation. Our individual limitation, please don't project it on the tradition. And tradition is abundance. Datta tradition, our tradition that we walk is equal to abundance. Abundance, if it is not in our minds, if we have poverty consciousness, we have to sort it out. But don't blame it on the tradition. Tradition is abundance. You take a decision, have determination, have conviction about what you believe in, and walk. I'm walking with you. And I'm walking with you. I will prove it as well. I have proved already. I've already proved many times over. But your limitations, don't project it on tradition. Tradition doesn't have limitations. But all our actions should be selfless. It should not be for selfish reasons, for self-glory, for glorifying something. Nothing. We should always be humble. We should do what we have to do in the world with extreme humility, and also make a difference in the world around us, so that our life is well used. This birth is well used. This life is worth it that way. So our net worth will be what we give to the world, not what we take from the world. Be clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mohanji. Thank you for your words. Before we actually end this session, I just want to say briefly a mantra from Guru Gita. There is one shloka that we all feel it by heart, is that the form of, the source of the meditation is Guru's form. The source of devotion is Guru's feet. The source of mantra is Guru's words. And the source of awakening is Guru's grace. This is what we all see, that as a practical example, Mohanji, just not by your word or by your preaching, but the way you walk, and every word that you say to us is what you live. And just by watching you, we live that and we try to follow that. So thank you so much for being with us today and always. And the entire global family who is watching this are feeling extremely blessed for your time, for your presence with us. Thank you, Mohanji.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We would now end